Hey everyone, today we're diving into a wild, little-known chapter of American history that even your history teacher may not know. Did you know that the US, under the Constitution, didn't start with 13 states, only 11? North Carolina and Rhode Island were actually independent countries for a bit, even after the Constitution was ratified or passed. Buckle up, because this is a story that has some twists and turns. In June 1788, the scene was intense. Debates raged in taverns, halls, and homes all along the eastern seaboard. At this point, only 8 of the 13 colonies had ratified or passed the Constitution, but to make it official, they needed 9. Everything hinged on these holdout states: New Hampshire, Virginia, New York, North Carolina, and Rhode Island, aka Rhode Island. On June 21st, 1788, New Hampshire stepped up as a 9th state to ratify the Constitution. This was pivotal because it set the stage for a new union, turning the draft from the Constitutional Convention into the actual law of the land. The shift was crucial because the Articles of Confederation, which had held the colonies together post-revolution, were way too weak. They didn't provide enough central authority, especially when it came to national issues like taxes and trade. But not everyone was on board right away. North Carolina, for example, was super cautious. From late 1788 until November 1789, North Carolina was not officially part of the United States, part of the Union. But interestingly, it still acted like it on occasion. For example, the state even levied tariffs on goods and handed the profits over to the United States. Hugh Williamson, a delegate at the 1787 Constitutional Convention, served as an ambassador in Philadelphia. He explained that North Carolina's hesitation was about protecting liberties, state rights, not opposing the federal government. Meanwhile, the US government was working hard to bring North Carolina into the fold. They allowed North Carolina vessels to enter US ports free of charge, trying to sweeten the deal. Eventually, North Carolina did join on November 21st, 1789, but Rhode Island was a tougher nut to crack. Dubbed Rogue Island, it faced significant pressure, including a congressional bill to cut off trade with it altogether. This pressure and internal divisions finally pushed Rhode Island to ratify the Constitution on May 29, 1790. This was, by the way, after George Washington was elected, but it was a very close call, a vote of 34 to 32. They didn't just sign on to the Constitution, but they also sent a list of 18 human rights and 21 amendments to ensure their concerns were addressed. So the early United States started with just 11 states, while North Carolina and Rhode Island did their own thing for a while. This period highlights the complexities of forming a unified nation from a bunch of independent entities, each with its own concerns and priorities. Eventually, the promise of the Bill of Rights helped bring everyone together, the Federalist and the Anti-Federalist, the small states and the big states, ensuring a stronger, more united country. This story really shows how messy and fascinating the birth of the United States was. There weren't 13 states in the beginning of this country under the Constitution, only 11.